Kicking off Sage Advice Unfurled this week, we're talking all things fighter, of course, continuing from our fighter subclass options last week. So everything is about fighter this week. And to start it off, can fighting styles that you select work together? The simple answer is yes, but you can only have one of each type of fighter style, fighting style. They don't stack with one another of the same type, and they can't conflict with one another either. So for example, if you pick the dueling fighting style, which requires that you have one melee weapon and no other weapon attached or in use, that will stack with the protection fighting style, which allows you to invoke disadvantage on attacks to any other character if you're wearing a shield and within 5 feet of that character. So if you have a shield and you take the protection fighting style, you can leverage disadvantage on an attacker who's attacking a companion of yours that's close to you, let's say. So the idea that you deflect it with a shield, that will stack with dueling, which requires you to have one melee weapon and only one melee weapon in hand, which gives you a plus advantage to using that weapon. However, they can't conflict. So if you have dueling, which requires you to have only one single-handed weapon attack, then obviously that doesn't stack with great weapon fighting, which requires you to use a two-handed weapon. Now that's a little bit more clear, but there are occasions where that's nuanced, so be careful around it. Does archery affect thrown weapons like daggers and hand axes? We're talking about the weapon fighting style of archery. So simply put, no, it doesn't. The rules around archery as a fighting style relate specifically to ranged weapons or weapons that have the ranged property, whereas daggers and hand axes aren't actually ranged. They're melee weapons that can be thrown, and that's the distinction to look for when determining whether or not they benefit from the archery fighting style. Is dueling specifically meant to be used with a shield? So this is the example we gave earlier with one melee weapon in hand and no other weapon equipped. It is actually developed with the intention to be used with a shield, but it's not specified as a requirement in the description. So realistically, dueling will give you a benefit as long as you are only using one melee weapon and no other melee weapon equipped, whether you have a shield or not. It could be a focus or a trinket or any other type of item, or nothing at all, just specifically not another weapon. The other question is, will great weapon fighting damage reroll? Sorry, the great weapon fighting damage reroll, will it affect other damage types from the same attack? Let me clarify that a bit. So if you use a great weapon and you have the great weapon fighting style, will it benefit from other damage related to that weapon like Divine Smite or Hex? And the answer is no. The idea around great weapon fighting is that the extra damage reroll that you get from that fighting style is limited and specific to the weapon itself. So if you're using a greatsword, for example, which deals 3d6 damage, then you'd only be able to reroll one of those 3d6s, not any damage that results from magical effects on the weapon or Divine Smite or any other features that go along with the same attack while they might be attached. Finally, in Sage Advice Unfurled Rule Solutions and Clarities, can I use the Battlemaster Riposte maneuver on a missed opportunity attack? So Riposte is a superiority maneuver that comes with the Battlemaster class, and it states that if somebody misses their attack on you, you can spend a superiority die to make an attack against that character and then use that die for damage. The answer is yes, actually, because you can use Riposte on any missed attack. The only requirement is you have to make sure that you have your reaction available to you, because that's what that battle maneuver uses. And of course, you have to have a superiority die left available to you to use that maneuver. And that's a wrap for Sage Advice Unfurled, clarifying some of the most hotly contested rules in D&D 5e. I hope it's helpful for you, and by all means, feel free to ask, or let's discuss anything else that you might be having a challenge with or see is a little bit sticky at the table.